This is CBC Here and Now.
A dark and divisive period in the fishing industry appears to have ended. There's a deal to end the crab dispute. That story coming up.
It's great news for the town of Stephenville.
The money has arrived, meaning this airport is one step closer to being sold to a private company.
You know, I'm retired, so it's all a long weekend.
What is your ideal May to 4 long weekend?
Not working.
It is the 24th of May, and will you be getting away? We hit the streets to find out how people are spending the long weekend. Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Heather Gillis, filling in for Carolyn Stokes. Our top story tonight, the weeks-long crab fishery dispute has ended. A deal has been reached, which will see the massive crab harvest begin following weeks of bickering. Here and Now's Terry Roberts is live from the St. John's Harbour tonight. So Terry, what's in the deal?
Yeah, well, I can tell you, first of all, maybe a key word here. The key word is reluctance, because the Fisheries Union signed this deal today, the final offer from the Association of Seafood Producers, with a lot of reluctance. So here's what we know. A familiar number, $2.20 a pound. That's what harvesters are going to get when they bring their snow crab into the wharf this year. That's the same arbitrated price that got this whole dispute going weeks ago. So no budge on that price right now. So I guess you could say a big win for the producers on that front. But there are some incremental increases if the market goes up. And that's a big if, because it's not likely. Because we've been talking to experts who say the crab market is very bleak right now. It's dire, and don't expect any more than $2.20. That probably is as good as it's going to get for harvesters this year. How big of a blow is that? Well, last year, harvesters in this province were getting above $6 a pound average last year for their snow crab. I know of stories of some harvesters, crew members on larger boats, grossing about $170,000 last year. It was a bonanza for several years, but that's over. A new reality is now settling in. So here's what we heard today. The deal, we heard about it around 1 o'clock this afternoon. The Fisheries Union sent out a news release. It was reached this morning. The Premier got involved, and there were key players on both sides, the producers and the FFAW. The Premier issuing a statement not long after, urging everyone to maintain public safety and respect this outcome. Why did he do that? Well, because there's been so much tension in our coastal communities in recent weeks. Now, all sides are staying away from us in the media today, telling us they're going to be giving us more details next week on all this. The union, the FFAW, did release a statement with Greg Priddy saying that the Crab Committee, well, they're not happy with this deal. They had hoped that the crab market would improve and that it would improve their bargaining position, but it didn't. And the union was backed into a corner. So earnings are going to plummet in our coastal communities this year. Last year, landed value was about $800 million just for snow crab in this province. Again, it was a bonanza. So the union is saying there's going to need to be some financial assistance. Most people can expect to have a lot lower earnings this year, so they want maybe some EI extensions, some emergency financial aid for people who are not going to qualify for EI. And there's also some confusion here because the union issued a news release saying that one of their stipulations to reaching this deal is that Premier Andrew Furey come out publicly and say that this deal, that the fish price setting process has to be revamped. Well, a spokesperson in the Premier's office told us today that is not part of this deal. So again, more questions that have to be answered. Now today I was coincidentally, I was in Placentia where there was a meeting. The FFAW was hosting a meeting for harvesters there. About 50 harvesters showed up, and almost all of them voted in favor of ending this tie-up. So you could sense that the ground was shifting even this morning. And I spoke to one fisherman there at the meeting, and as he left that meeting, he was quite relieved to know that they were soon going to go fishing.
I think it was worth it. It shows people that we're not willing to go fishing for pennies anymore. The days of my grandfather fishing for the merchants for a sack of flour are gone. At the settle up at the end of the area. We're businessmen, we're business people, just like any other business in our area, and we deserve to get paid a fair market share.
Well, this is not just to lose our season, it's pretty well to lose our year. I mean, everything we got there now is we're pretty much almost 100% into the crab, and we would do a bit of lobster and everything else, and the codfish is down to very little. At least when we had cod, we had something to fall back on. And with the low price was pretty bad, but I mean, you put up with that, and that's it. You know, we get through it and pick up a few lobsters, and the little bit of fish we have, we'll make a season out of it anyway, right?
Yeah, sorry about that. We played the wrong clip, but that was Tom Whittle. You just heard from their harvester in Placentia Bay. So the big question now, was all this worth it? You know, we've had so many protests, communities divided. I saw that when I was in Lassie this week. You know, harvesters feuding with harvesters. We had major dissent within the union, the powerful fisheries union. So I asked a member of the Inshore Council today, Jamie Barnett. Jamie, was all this worth it?
I think it was worth it. It shows people that we're not willing to go fishing for pennies anymore. The days of my grandfather fishing for the merchants for a sack of flour are gone. At the settle up at the end of the year, right? We're businessmen, we're business people, just like any other business in our area, and we deserve to get paid a fair market share for our products, just like anyone else.
Yeah, so the Association of Seafood Producers, Jeff Loader, their executive director, he said in a news release today that he believes that we can still have a successful fishery. We know that boats are heading out to sea. We still have quite a few boats here at the Small Boat Basin in St. John's, but 120 millions of pounds of crab. You know, the question is, can we land all that crab? Might the fishery be interrupted by what we know as soft shell? You know, when those crabs start to molt their shells. And trip limits, we don't know much about that yet. What's going to happen there? Do we even have the processing capacity right now to handle all that crab? And another big question. There's been a lot of deep wounds opened up with this major dispute in the fishery. Can those wounds be healed? Only time will tell. Reporting live from the Small Boat Basin here in St. John's, I'm Terry Roberts for Here and Now.
Well, as you can see there behind Terry, lots of blue sky out there, and that was the story pretty much through a good portion of the day today. We do have some clouds moving in up across Labrador, and some smoke, it looks like, as well, from the forest fires in the west showing up on the satellite as well. But we're sitting under a big ridge of high pressure to the south, a bit of a trough moving through up across Labrador, and that is going to keep things unsettled for the next couple of days. But here's a look at the smoke from those forest fires. If I zoom out a little bit, you can see there is a lot burning, making headlines for western portions of Canada, and the jet stream is taking all of that smoke and heading it, bringing it our way. So as we head through the next couple of days, we are not going to be surprised. You shouldn't be surprised to see some hazy skies out there. Sunset today may look a little red as well, and that's why. But it's up in the upper atmosphere, so you shouldn't smell it, but you may see those hazy skies. Now, speaking of forest fires, taking a look at the hazard map, because it is the long weekend. Many of us out camping this weekend. We're looking at moderate to high in some cases. We do have windy conditions out there as well this weekend, so if you are planning out, just be safe. We'll talk all about the forecast when I come back.
Thank you, Ashley. Police are expanding an investigation which resulted in a long list of charges against 2 men accused of sexual violence. The Royal Newfoundland Constabulary say they're widening the scope of the investigation, and today they set up an email address after their investigation led them to believe some of the sexual violence dates back to the 1990s. Neighbors 62-year-old Tony Humby and 80-year-old Bruce Escott were charged last year with multiple sexual assault-related offenses. Until today, it was believed the complaints went back to 2007. However, investigators have since learned the alleged incidents of sexual violence go back even further. The email has been set up with a trauma-informed focus. The address will put possible victims or witnesses in direct contact with cops working on the case rather than having them show up at the police station.
So we're looking to develop a means to be as accessible as possible with certainly a survivor-centered approach to investigating these crimes. And at this point, we have launched an email which is a direct contact to the investigative team here at the RNC. The email is reach@rnc.gov.nl.ca. We often talk about the pieces of the puzzle, and this is one of those cases where any particular point or or piece of information can be valuable to this investigation.
In other news, if you're heading out hunting this weekend, the Canadian Wildlife Service is asking you to keep an eye out for sick or dead birds. Avian influenza is still around in the province, and even when hunting healthy birds, harvesters are being asked to take precautions. Out of 45 birds found dead in Labrador, 12 tested positive for avian flu. Those species include, with the virus, black-back gulls, Iceland gulls, and herring gulls, also one eider duck and a great horned owl. The Canadian Wildlife Service tested another 148 birds that were shot by hunters, and of those tested, they all came back negative. The service is also asking hunters to act as though every animal may have the avian flu.
Fully cooked wild birds do not pose a risk, so they're safe to consume. But the real risk is in how people are handling the birds, bodily secretions and feces and things like that. So it's important to, for example, use gloves when you're cleaning your birds, and not to be touching your face or eyes or mouth while you're cleaning birds. So, don't be having a drink of Pepsi Cola and smoking a cigarette at the same time you're cleaning your birds.
To news from Stephenville now, and the potential sale of the local airport. More than 20 months ago, Ottawa businessman Carl Diamond announced plans to acquire the airport. Diamond has said that he'll spend hundreds of millions in private money there and create thousands of jobs when he takes over. The process has dragged on, though, and according to the mayor of Stephenville, it's getting closer to becoming a reality. At last night's town council meeting, Tom Rose said money had now been transferred from the Diamond Group to the airport authority, meaning that the terms of a purchase agreement have been met.
For example, paying off the line of credit, which is approximately $1 million, plus other requirements, legal, GST, severances, everything. So it's great news for the town of Stephenville. Here's an opportunity for us.
Other members of the Airport Corporation's board wouldn't comment today on the mayor's announcement. The board is expected to meet early next week. Staying on the West Coast, a popular entrance to a Corner Brook walking trail system looks different, with a 35-year-old staircase dismantled. Here Now's Colleen Connors explains why.
The iconic view of the Glenmalin Pond hasn't changed, but this entrance sure has. The old staircase had to go. There were concerns about its stability, and the wood was rotting. The trail developers said it had to be replaced. Instead of putting in another set of stairs, a more accessible and much cheaper option is carving out a switchback trail system.
Given the cost of lumber and the cost of construction, it was more economically feasible to go this route, but it also the stairs were an impediment to people with mobility issues, young families with small children and strollers, dogs, that type of thing. So it's just a better fit all around.
So what is a switchback anyway?
Instead of going directly vertical, you make long sweeping turns on the way down, but switchback turns on each corner. So it's a bit longer to get down, but it's a lesser grade.
This is a steep slope, and making it a lesser grade is a big job for this team, who are busy installing a retaining wall to reinforce the zigzag-like path.
I really like that. Hopefully, I'm sure that whoever designed it kept in mind, having the proper grade for wheelchairs and everything else. So I think that would be important for our community to have a more accessible walking path. So I think it's wonderful.
So a lot of families walk this trail. So we want to make sure that families who have little kids are able to go along with their strollers. And if anybody's able to go on this even with a wheelchair, or even I'm hoping this trail will be bike accessible. So if that's an option, that's also great, because you cannot bring a bike up over a set of stairs without carrying it on your shoulder. So something nice and safe and wide and accessible for all residents of Corner Brook.
The new construction is part of a $300,000 project to improve accessibility to this section of the walking trail in the center of town. Eventually, the sandbags will be covered in seed, and this area will look like a grassy embankment. While everyone wants to get a closer look at what this switchback is going to be like, crews are really asking the public to just stay away for now and let them do their work on that part of the trail. Now, in about 4 weeks' time, the switchback will be open and people will be able to access the trail right around the whole city. Colleen Connors, CBC News, Corner Brook.
Still in Corner Brook, Memorial University's Grenfell campus held its annual convocation yesterday. Just over 210 students received degrees and 4 people were granted honorary degrees. The university says the degree recipients are chosen from nominations from the public, which are submitted to the Senate. Honorary degrees are designed to recognize exceptional intellectual or artistic achievement and contributions to society or the university. Indigenous elder Odell Pike was honored for her leadership, community service, work in social justice, and sports. Quidi Vidi, known for his dancing videos during the pandemic, was honored for spreading optimism, joy, and light during a dark time. David Hine and Irene Sankoff, who wrote the Tony Award-winning Broadway musical Come From Away, were also degree recipients.
Thank you so much for this incredible honor and for inviting us to speak with you. It means the world to us that Memorial honors people who do good for the community, because the reason we wrote Come From Away was to honor people who do good for their community and who gave back to the world. So thank you for honoring us, honoring you.
We now know how Labradorian John Groves did on Jeopardy. The episode aired last night. In Final Jeopardy, contestants were asked about a 1989 Billy Joel hit. Here's how it went.
We'll begin with you, John Groves. What did you come up with? What is We Didn't Start the Fire? That is correct. A song that Billy Joel said it's terrible musically about. He said it's like a mosquito buzzing around your head. And how much are we going to add to your score? $201. That gives you $4,601.
That was enough to put him in second place, but not enough to beat Ben Chan, who finished with $31,000. He's now on a 7-day winning streak. Well, we're coming up on a 3-day long weekend. The long-awaited May 24th holiday is finally upon us, and whether you're sticking around or heading out on the highway, the CBC's Jessica Singer hit the streets to see how people plan to get away for the unofficial start to summer.
What is your ideal May 24 long weekend?
Not working. I don't know, up the cabin out on the boat.
Sitting at my house.
Sitting?
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to do while you sit?
Go on my phone.
What do you do on your phone?
I watch TikTok.
What's your ideal May 24 long weekend?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
I don't have one.
What? What do you want to get up to this weekend?
Laundry.
Just time with families are the best May 24 weekend. Whether it be camping or barbecuing in the backyard.
You know, I'm retired, so it's all a long weekend. I do what I want to.
At the cabin with a beer.
Beautiful. Where's the cabin?
Oh, I don't have one. I want one though.
My ideal long weekend is getting out of St. John's and enjoying the time around the country.
Beautiful. Where do you like to go outside of the city?
We have a place out in Collinet. You ever been?
No.
Oh, it's great. You should go out there.
What's your favorite thing to eat and drink on the long weekends?
Pizza and beer.
Hot dogs, hamburgers, the classics.
Anything on the barbecue and anything out of a beer bottle.
Happy day.
May 24. St. Patrick's.
Hey, one more try. One more try. 3, 2, 1.
Happy May 24.
Thanks, Jessica, for that. Now, we do have some nice weather on the way. Teen temperatures, single digits for others. I'll talk about that coming up.
Come on. That's not bad.
In Newfoundland and Labrador? I don't think so. No matter what the weather is, have a safe and happy May 24th weekend.
This weather update is brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. The absolute final deadline is midnight Friday, June 2nd. Order tickets now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
Well, thanks so much to Jessica Singer and Curtis Hicks for being such good sports there for our May 24th fashion show and being our fashion models. I guess they're ready for anything that might come our way this weekend. So Ashley, do you think we'll be needing snowsuits this May 24?
Not this year, which is nice. But I wanted to show you something because do you remember about 10 years ago? Just take a look. This is what happened. 10 years ago in Gander, Rodney posted this on Twitter earlier today. I was not here, but I can imagine this was not fun. 50 centimeters of snow fell on May 19th, 2013, and a total of 69.8 centimeters fell from that system. So don't worry, this is not happening this year, which is nice. Actually, you're going to need more in the way of sunscreen than those snow pants this year, which is nice. And we're already seeing lots of sunshine out there. However, it is windy. We're seeing very breezy conditions. Winds are out of the southwest. That is good news. That means that that's milder temperatures. But we do have some cloud cover up across Labrador. A couple of systems moving through over the weekend. But for the most part, it is not going to be too bad. That ridge of high pressure in place, that's what's keeping us fairly nice right now. Calm weather at the moment. But we do have some stuff on the way, moving through Ontario at the moment, and we will see some of this shower activity as we head through the next couple of days. Today, lots of teen temperatures out there. 16 in Gander today. We saw 17 in Badger. Temperatures up across Labrador starting to warm up, especially towards the coast. 14 in Cartwright. Same thing for Happy Valley, Goose Bay, but still hanging on to the single digits in Lab City today, hovering around the 5-degree mark. But if you take a live look outside right now, beautiful in the Narrows. 12 degrees at the moment, but those winds gusty out of the west, 30 to as much as 50 kilometers per hour. That's the gust that we're seeing. And those temperatures out there are still very nice across the province. 15 degrees in Badger, 16 in Deer Lake at the moment. And still those temperatures hovering around the single digits in Lab City. So satellite radar, nothing really. We do have some showers showing up just about to approach the west coast as we speak. But overall, a fairly quiet night expected. We're still looking at the chance of showers up across Labrador. That will spread towards central and coastal areas by the time we get into the early morning hours. Otherwise, a quiet night across the island. We may see a few showers up across the northern peninsula. But that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot to talk about as far as weather goes for tonight. Your temperatures generally going to be sitting between 4 and 7 degrees overnight tonight. Winds easing off a little bit. Southwesterlies will be gusting around 40 or 50 kilometers per hour. Labrador, you're looking at your temperatures into the single digits and hovering around the 0-degree marker, a little bit below for northern portions. Now, as we head through tomorrow, that shower activity is going to continue for southeastern portions of Labrador, potentially the northern peninsula into the afternoon. Otherwise, generally a fairly nice day. Clouds will be on the increase. Don't be surprised to see some showers on the west coast either as we get into the afternoon hours, but they'll be fairly light in nature. And then clearing again as we head into the evening hours, more showers expected to move in for the west. Now, when we get into Sunday, this is when we'll see some wet weather. That will be the story up across the Big Land, and behind that some cooler temperatures, which means we are going to see the potential for some snow in the forecast as well. Temperatures tomorrow will be well into the teens, except along the south coast where you will see those onshore flow southwest winds between 50 and about 60 kilometers per hour. As we head towards Labrador, though, your temperatures will be nice to start. Teens, 16 degrees in Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and 15 in Lab City. But like I said, that rain is on the way as we head towards Sunday, and then Monday looking wet to end off the long weekend. But I'll talk all about that when I come back.
Thanks, Ashley. A fire on the Burgeo Highway is now out, and officials hope to reopen the Barishwa Pond Provincial Park in time for the long weekend. Check out these pictures from the St. George's Fire Department. The fire was burning near Route 180 at a lodge where dozens of old vehicles were waiting to be scrapped were fully engulfed in flame. Crews spent more than 7 hours containing the fire and cleaning up. The fire chief told CBC Radio they were able to keep it from spreading to the surrounding forest, but with as many as 60 vehicles tightly packed and burning, it made for a long day.
It does cause a lot of black, heavy smoke from all the plastic and rubber and everything that's burning. And at that point, the fire was too hot for us to extinguish it. Our water wasn't doing anything. So we kind of had to control the area around and let it burn off a bit before we could do anything with it because of the heat and the heavy black smoke.
I'm here in a forest in western Newfoundland, and it's a day pretty much like any other. It's damp, kind of cool. That's a stark contrast to what's happening in Western Canada these days. In Alberta alone, there are 94 wildfires burning. While it may not seem like it to some, this year's conditions have been extremely dry. That's because snowpack from the winter melted off really quickly and left the ground and everything extremely dry. Of course, with that kind of weather and that kind of conditions come wildfires. So far this year, there have been 53 wildfires in Newfoundland and Labrador alone. 34 of those started before May 1st. Let's compare that to last year, when at this time there were only 18 wildfires in the province. 2 of those were from before May 1st. And of course, we remember what happened last July in central Newfoundland. Those fires were the worst the island portion of the province has seen in decades. No one will forget the sheer level of devastation those fires caused. So what about this year? Well, the Forestry Department is keeping a very close eye on things and trying to mitigate the risk of this happening again. So what can we do as individuals? What's within our power to help? Well, first and foremost, be very careful with any fire. And flames and embers are what we used to call flankers, especially around the house or the cabin. Make sure that your combustible engines are away from the house, as are your barbecues. And also, watch out for these things, because when they dry out, it's a danger to everyone.
Some of the best chess players in the province are getting ready to head to Montreal for a national Canadian championship. We're going to take a look at chess and how to be a great player. It's neither black nor white.
Welcome back to the show. You'll spot 5 new pieces of art on display in Quidi Vidi Village in St. John's. They're all a part of a new project put off by Business and Arts NL. But as Here and Now's Sarah Blackmore explains, the challenge is part art project, part problem solver.
Vesela Brakalova is one of dozens of artists who applied to be part of the search. She joins 6 others coming up with artistic solutions to some very practical problems in Quidi Vidi.
This was what really got me going, because this is where I best perform as an artist, when I have a problem to solve.
Her piece, Iceberg in a Bottle, is not just visual art, but serves a purpose too. And for Brakalova, this type of project gets at what art is all about.
The true art serves purpose. The true art deliver a solution. Would that be a business solution or a societal solution? Creativity is more than just creating something visual.
Quidi Vidi Brewery was in need of a gate to help divide this shared space, where customers enter the tap room and trucks access the loading docks. Owner Justin Fong was all too happy for Brakalova's solution.
A lot of times people don't get that there can be a collaboration between artists and businesses. And we could put a gate up, but it's not going to be near as nice. It's not going to have that kind of custom handmade look and feel to it. And anytime that we can support the arts community, we want to.
That piece is one of 5 now on display in Quidi Vidi Village. Alongside Robert Hengeveld's Altogether Naughty, an homage to the yarn, netting and ropes that have contributed to the livelihood of those in the province. And Kevin Barry Martin's Moratorium Cod Drying, a statement on the rich history of the fishing in Quidi Vidi Village. A final piece, The Sugar Loaf, will be finished in the coming weeks, an interactive piece of art for hikers to enjoy, just in time for the weather. Sarah Blackmore, CBC News, Quidi Vidi.
Big national chess tournament coming up in Quebec and Montreal, and somebody is joining me here to talk about that, and that's Christopher Cho. He's the team coordinator. So what's going on in Quebec?
Yeah, so this weekend of the long weekend is the big Canadian Chess Challenge National Final that's happening in Montreal. So this tournament really brings out the best of the best in Canada from grades 1 to 12 all together, and for a big national competition to see who the Canadian winners are.
All right, so a national championship, that's a chance for players, and I noticed that they're of all ages.
Yeah, exactly. So the tournament has players from grades 1 all the way to grade 12, and there's 1 player from each grade who is a provincial representative, and they will play other people in their grade from across the country from all other 9 provinces.
Now, Chris, I know that you were the organizer of a big tournament here in St. John's recently. What is it that benefits kids from playing this game?
I think there's a few things that kids can really benefit from. First of all is just the social aspect of it, especially attending these big tournaments. There's a lot of friendships to be made in the chess community, as well as it really helps them to develop their minds. And there's a lot of different strategies and different openings that people can do in chess, and there's so many different combinations. So it really helps to train the mind of the kids and help them to think kind of outside the box, think of different strategies, and help with things such as critical thinking.
What is it that you like about playing chess?
That it's challenging. There's lots of different moves, and it's the world's hardest game.
The world's hardest game? How do you know that?
Because my dad told me.
How do you think playing chess improves the way you think?
Well, it's all about strategy and tactics and everything, and problem solving sometimes. A person can develop problem solving by playing chess.
What do you think the other young players are going to learn this weekend? You've been there.
Well, I think a lot of our younger players are going to learn to take more time. A lot of the young players, including myself when I was younger, I would blitz through my games and I would make a silly mistake and I would lose my game. So I think they're going to learn from experience to take their time, and that they have the time to make the best possible move.
What do you like about playing chess?
It's very challenging. We make friends by playing with it, your opponent.
So it's not just about the game, it's also about making friends?
Yes.
Any advice for somebody who wants to play chess? If I want to learn, what's a good way to learn how to play chess?
You play slowly. If you play fast, you will lose.
What do you like about chess?
I like that it teaches me what to do first in life, and it's a fun game, and you can learn from it.
When you say fun, what do you find fun about it? Because I've been trying to play you here, and you got a very serious look on your face. You were looking really serious when we were playing. What are you thinking when we're playing?
I'm thinking it's fun because, like, losing might be a little sad for you, but
Sad for me? You're convinced you're going to win?
no. Like, in some tournaments, if you lose, you might be sad, and if you win, you might feel happy, and like it was fun you played that game.
Well, you know what? I think you're going to win.
Welcome back. As reporter Otso Razori once said, Buddy Wass's name and the other fellers penned the ultimate holiday classic with the Gravel Pit song. It perfectly describes the downright crazy tradition of camping come spring weather or snowstorms. So we dipped into the Here and Now archives to bring you this special report from May 1992.
Yes, it's the May 24th weekend again. You can count on two things this time of the year. People heading out on the road, and Buddy What's His Name and the other fellers laughing about it all.
It's the 24th of May and we likes to get away, up in the woods or going out the bay. There's all kinds of places, but the place we likes to get is up on the highway in the gravel pits.
The Gravel Pit Song. It's become the local anthem of the May 24th weekend. And it hits just the right note for what is, after all, a ritual of people with insane hearts. You have to be nuts to take this kind of gamble each year. You have to be completely in love with the place. So much so that anything will do, even a gravel pit.
It's the 24th of May and we likes to get away, up in the woods or going out the bay. There's all kinds of places, but the place we likes to get is up on the highway in the gravel pits. We loves to go out in the good old gravel pits. We loves to go out there when life gets smelly. We can spray paint our names on the face of the cliff. Go up to the Irving for a Coke and chips. Pictures of the camper and out of town we go. Out on the highway with everything we tow. The dog is in the back seat and grandfather's drunk. The youngster's in the trailer and the wife is in the trunk. It's the 24th of May and we likes to get away, up in the woods or going out the bay. There's all kinds of places, but the place we likes to get is up on the highway in the gravel pits. John is coming over and Sue and Henry too. We polish off a bottle and a bottle of stew. We'll tell a few stories with an awful lot of lies. Green boughs on the fire to keep away the flies. The youngsters gets excited, then they starts to bounce and jump. And when we piles in the car and goes up to the dump, it's cheaper than the movie, so we all sits and stares up by the garbage while you're looking at the bear. It's the 24th of May and we likes to get away, up in the woods or going out the bay. There's all kinds of places, but the place we likes to get is up on the highway in the gravel pits. Flies a newfie flag on an old spruce pole. It drowns a few worms in the tractor mud hole. It listens to the radio, we plays it good and loud. A scoff on the Coleman stove is bound to draw a crowd. And when the weekend's over, we're headed back to town. A half-inch of sloppy snow lying on the ground. $100 for a buck who wants to be rich. We just had a lovely time out in the pits. It's the 24th of May and we likes to get away, up in the woods or going out the bay. There's all kinds of places, but the place we likes to get is up on the highway in the gravel pits.
Love that song. Anyway, a Canadian couple had quite the adventure celebrating their anniversary in Mexico. Keith and Karen Bratt were enjoying some snorkeling when they came across a gold ring on the ocean floor. The couple from Lethbridge, Alberta, took to social media to track down its rightful owners, and thanks to the massive help from an online community and a global search, it ended in Italy.
It really was kind of that scene in Lord of the Rings where you look down and it's just, you know, it's a simple gold band, but it just sparkled. Obviously it's brand new. They just got married. And I just posted it to my personal Facebook just saying, hey, like, how can I, you know, get some help maybe trying to locate these people? And it was just amazing. It was over 200,000 shares. And then people were literally posting, I think this is the person. The date matched and the name matched. And then she contacted me. And you know, even now it's hard for me not to get emotional about it, because you just tell, like, you know, it's not the monetary value, it's not that, it's what it means to this couple. You know, it's their wedding ring.
Bratt and his wife tracked down the Italian couple who owned the ring newlyweds, and they spoke through a translator. The Italian couple said they believe it's all a sign of good things to come. The Canadian couple, who you see right there, had been married for 30 years. Now stay with us because your birthday and anniversary announcements are coming up next. Time now to bring some special greetings to some special viewers. Marie and John Rumbold of Deer Lake are celebrating their 70th wedding anniversary. That was on Tuesday past. Happy 52nd wedding anniversary to Bob and Judy Mercer of Pasadena from your family and friends. Happy 63rd anniversary to Rod and Ida Ford, who celebrated yesterday. Happy 50th anniversary to Donald and Genova Park from Pasadena, who celebrated on Tuesday. Wilfred and Wendy Wells of St. John's celebrated 55 years together. Happy 55th wedding anniversary also to Harold and Madge Squires of St. John's. Greetings from your two sons. Happy 50th anniversary to Wayne and Marion Power, celebrating today and currently living in Calgary, Alberta. Happy 61st wedding anniversary to Mondella and Freeman Brown of Arnold's Cove. congratulations to Judy and Gerald Thompson of Point Leamington, who celebrated their 55th wedding anniversary. That was on Wednesday, May 17th. Wishing a happy 64th wedding anniversary to Clara and Simon Canning of Roddington. Happy 60th anniversary to Conrad and Patricia Davis from Pollard's Point, White Bay. Happy 67th wedding anniversary to Betty and Cyril Gowdy of Springdale, who are celebrating today. Eric and Judy Shepherd of Lark Harbor also celebrating today after 50 years of marriage. On to our birthdays now. Happy 90th birthday to Harold Piercy of Port Rexton, now residing in St. John's. Happy 90th birthday to Jane Riggs of Fortune. She celebrated on Monday. Happy 90th birthday to Albert Reed of Heart's Delight, who celebrated on Tuesday past. And happy 90th birthday to Gordon Turpin. He celebrated on Wednesday, formerly of St. Lawrence, now living in St. John's. Happy 95th birthday to Marcia Pilgrim of St. Lunaire Griquet, who also celebrated on Wednesday. Happy 96th birthday to Elizabeth Crocker of Creston South, celebrating today. Happy birthday to you. Birthday greetings go to Andrew Rousel of Leading Tickles, now residing in Botwood, on this occasion of your 96th birthday. Happy 93rd birthday to Mary Cossett, who is living on her own, in her own home, that's in Corner Brook. Happy 96th birthday to Hazel Ringer, who will be celebrating this Sunday. She's originally from Harbour-Lacou but lives in Labrador City with her family. And Gertrude Griffiths of St. John's, happy 90th birthday to you today. Love from all your family and friends. And finally, happy 100th birthday to Alice Smith of Battery Road, right here in St. John's. She is the oldest living resident of the Battery, and she's lived there her whole life. And greetings and wishes to each and every one of you. Now, back to the May 24th weekend. Ashley, tomorrow, Saturday, looking pretty good if you're looking to get outside. What does the rest of the long weekend have in store?
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, we do have some showers that are going to move in as we head through the day on Sunday. But let's take a look at the forecast. Temperatures are going to be significantly cooler for Lab West as well. You're actually looking at the potential for some snow overnight. But overall, temperatures will stay quite mild right through Sunday. Now, the showers will move in up across Labrador first, then towards the west coast and the northern peninsula, and then eventually through central, but that won't happen until later on in the day. And the Avalon actually looking like an absolutely beautiful Sunday. Lots of sunshine. Windy, though. It's going to be windy again with those winds gusting around 40 to as much as 50 kilometers per hour. 17 degrees should be the daytime high in St. John's, but those areas towards the coast and onshore flow will likely see those temperatures a tad cooler than that. Here's that rain I was talking about. Here's that snow in behind it. That is going to spread towards central and coastal Labrador as we head into the afternoon and evening hours on Monday. And then that rain will work its way across the island into the afternoon and evening hours as well. So it is going to be a wet day for eastern Newfoundland. However, you'll likely see a few peaks of sun through central west coast and then for sure the northern peninsula. But overall temperatures are going to dip a little bit. So down to the single digits along the south coast of the island, 10 to 14 pretty much across the rest of the island, and then up across Labrador, much cooler temperatures. Single-digit highs will be the story for your Monday, although things will clear out and it will actually end up being a fairly lovely day, especially if you are in the sun. Long-range forecast shows temperatures cooling a little bit as we get into Tuesday. We're going to see that chance of showers sticking around. By Wednesday, we'll jump right back up into the around 12-degree range, but again, staying a bit unsettled. And then for central Newfoundland, you're looking at your temperatures warming. Look at that. Wednesday could reach the 20-degree mark. And then we're looking at some showers moving in late day Wednesday for western Newfoundland, but overall your temperatures in the double digits. For eastern Labrador, after that little blip on Monday, you're going to be back up into the teens, and then a roller coaster ride, the story for western Labrador. As you hover somewhere around 5 or 6 degrees on Monday, back up to Tuesday, 15 degrees, and then back down for your Wednesday. Speaking of beautiful weather, this shot, sunset in Port aux Basques. Terry Matthews captured that lovely photo there, and appreciate you sending that one in. If you have any from the long weekend enjoying the lovely weather, send them to my Facebook page, Twitter, or email them to nophotos@cbc.ca.
Isn't that just lovely?
Mm-hmm.
And not a bad May 24th weekend forecast. No. Could always be worse with that snow like we saw from 10 years ago.
Yeah, it certainly could.
And, we're not going anywhere for the holiday weekend. Here Now is going to be back on Monday for a 30-minute show here on the 24th of May, actually the 22nd, but that's the holiday. And we'll have your latest news and weather. Hope you have a safe and happy weekend. Good night.
Good night.
We loves to go out in the good old gravel pits. We loves to go out there when life gets smelly. We can spray paint our names on the face of the cliff. Go up to the Irving for a Coke and chips. Pictures of the camper and out of town we go. Out on the highway with everything we tow. The dog is in the back seat and grandfather's drunk. The youngsters in the trailer and the wife is in the trunk. It's the 24th of May and we likes to get away. Up in the woods or going